Hello, YouTube divers. This is Water Dive 122, and I want to welcome you all to the second part of my Magic Metal Mondays episode, where I rank Dream Theater's albums from my least favorite to my favorite. Um, as you may remember, in the first part, I talked about numbers 15 through number 8. Well, in this video, we're going to be tackling the rest of the rankings, number 7 to number 1. So, without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's get this party started. Coming in at number 7, we're going to be talking about the 2005 album Octavarium. Another controversial hot take here. I basically feel the same way about this record as I do about Train of Thought. But I put Octavarium a little bit higher because of the concept. And if you're a huge Dream Theater fan like I am, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This album is just hidden with a bunch of Easter eggs and a lot of, you know, hidden things that you can find within the record. And in my opinion, it is just absolutely genius. But where this album falls a little bit flat for me is some of the weaker tracks on this record. There's no bad song on this album like Train of Thought. It's really just a matter of preference, and I will just go ahead and say I'm not a huge fan of I Walk Beside You and These Walls. They're both cool songs, but they're kind of meh. Especially in this era of Dream Theater, where they were just putting out a banger album after another banger album. It's just wow. But there are some really killer songs on here, like The Root of All Evil, continuing the AA Suite, Mike Portnoy's multi-album 12-step song, where he describes the 12 steps into alcoholic recovery. This is the third song in this series. This Dying Soul was the AA Suite song from Train of Thought, if you don't know. But The Root of All Evil is definitely one of the best songs in this series. The Answer Lies Within, I actually really like as well. Sacrifice Sons is also a banger. Never Enough is one of their more fascinating songs, if you ask me. And then Panic Attack, wowzers, what a song this is. And then, of course, how could I not talk about this album without mentioning the grand 24-minute title track, Octavarium. I don't think that this is their best epic like a lot of Dream Theater fans say it is, but, it's still a really, really good song. It is just, there's a reason why it is so beloved within the Dream Theater catalog. Octavarium, just a fantastic song from start to finish. With that said, there's really nothing else I can say about Octavarium. It's a great record. I just prefer other albums to it. Same complaints same thing with Train of Thought. Love the record. I just think they've done better. So with that said, Octavarium coming in here at number 7. Number 6, this one might also give me some flack. We're talking about the 2007 album, Systematic Chaos. I see a lot of Dream Theater fans talk smack about this album. I don't get that at all. There are some absolutely killer songs on this album. Part 1 and Part 2 of In the Presence of Enemies, both of those songs are really great. The Dark Eternal Night has another one of my favorite Dream Theater riffs. How can you not love it? Forsaken is, in my opinion, one of their most underrated ballads. And Constant Motion, while it does start off kind of cheesy, it does get really, really heavy and intense as it goes on. And then Repentance, the AA Suite song on Systematic Chaos, great song as well. Not a really huge fan of the last section where there's like people talking. But, for this type of song, it sort of makes sense to me. And then, of course, The Ministry of Lost Souls. One of the best Dream Theater songs ever. Holy smokes, what a song. Just wow. Um, but yeah, Ministry of Lost Souls, absolutely epic. Love this song. Systematic K, and then you throw in Prophets of War, which not really the biggest fan of, but it's still a fairly decent track. It's really the only problem I have with this record. Sort of like Dramatic Turn of Events, there's just one song that I think that Systematic Chaos can do without. And in my opinion, Prophets of War is that type of song. Um, but yeah, other than that, this album is just freaking amazing. I absolutely love it. So with that said, Systematic Chaos coming in here at number 6. Number 5, we're going to be talking about their most recent album, A View from the Top of the World from 2021. Now, I'm sure a lot of y'all are very surprised that I have this album over Train of Thought, Octavarium, Awake, Systematic Chaos. But this album holds a very special place in my heart when it comes to Dream Theater. This was the first album that I picked up from Dream Theater. This was the first album I listened to from Dream Theater. And this is the album that made me a fan of Dream Theater. Um, oh my God, there are just so many fantastic songs on this record. I mean, the title track, another one of their 20 plus minute songs. It's just epic from start to finish. The Alien won a Grammy Award for the best metal performance of 2021, and in my opinion, it's rightfully deserved. What a song this is. Answering the Call has always been a favorite of mine on this album. Invisible Monster. I know when I made the album review of A View from the Top of the World, I said that songs like Invisible Monster and Sleeping Giant and Awaken the Master were fairly average tracks. I don't feel that way anymore. I mean, back then I did, but opinions change. All of these songs are great. And of course, one of my favorite Dream Theater songs of all time, and the one song that made me into a Dream Theater fan, Transcending Time. I will always love this song. Easily my favorite song off the record. I think it's a masterpiece. I see a lot of people talk smack about Transcending Time. I don't get that at all. I would not be a Dream Theater fan without this song. It is just, oh my God, it's a beautiful song. I absolutely love it. But yeah, A View from the Top of the World comes in here at number 5. Would not be a Dream Theater fan without this record. Oh my God, it's just a great album. All right, moving on to number 4. We're going to be talking about Images and Words from 1992. And I know it seems kind of blasphemous for me to put this album not at number 1, but I have my reasons. This is undoubtedly a classic metal album. This is the album that pretty much set up the rules for what progressive metal was going to be. A lot of bands view this album as an influence, and a lot of people say it's Dream Theater's best record. It put them on the map. I mean, especially with songs like Pull Me Under, Learning to Live, Under a Glass Moon, and Metropolis Part 1. These songs just solidified them as a progressive metal legend at this point. And this was already their second record. Yeah, all those songs, as well as Wait for Sleep and Surrendered, those two songs in particular, in my opinion, are kind of on the weak side. I don't really come back to those two songs as much, but they are really cool songs. But my favorite song on this album, here's a hot take. My favorite song on this album is actually Another Day. Another Day is, in my opinion, Dream Theater's best ballad. It has probably James LaBrie's best vocal performance. I know a lot of people aren't really a huge fan of James LaBrie and his vocals, but I really love his vocals. And Another Day is one of the songs that and Another Day is a really classic example. This was James and his vocal element, and really, this was the first album to feature James LeBray as their full time singer. At this point, Charlie Dominici is gone. James LeBray is in, and his vocal performance on this album is just out of this world. Just, oh my God. I mean, his voice is just so different following this record. Um, yeah, this is a classic. Images and Words, absolutely a classic record. Um, but I just think that they've made better records. And we're going to get to them right now. So, number 4, Images and Words. Number 3, we're going to be talking about Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory from 1999. Another one of the first Dream Theater albums that I listened to in full, and another one of their more classic records. This Images and Words are kind of viewed as their best records for good reason. I mean, both of these albums are iconic. Both of these albums are brought them critical acclaim, and both of these albums played huge roles into shaping up the progressive metal genre. But I slightly prefer Metropolis Part 2 over Images and Words, mainly because most of the songs just kind of hit me a little bit more. The Spirit Carries On, in particular, is one of the most emotional songs that the band has ever made. Home is another great song. Beyond This Life is absolutely fantastic. Strange Deja Vu is great as well. And of course, the instrumental song, The Dance of Eternity, another one of the band's most iconic songs. But my favorite song on this album is actually Through Her Eyes. This has always been a favorite of mine ever since I first listened to this album. Yeah, Through Her Eyes is just a very slow, dark, and haunting song. I just really love this song. It's one of my favorite Dream Theater songs. Just, oh my God, it's just absolutely fantastic. But, overall, Metropolis Part 2, absolutely flawless. I mean, what more can I say? This album is just absolutely majestic from start to finish. I love this record. So, with that said, Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory, coming in here at number 3. Number 2, we're getting closer to the top. And I'm pretty sure these next 2 records are records that most Dream Theater fans probably wouldn't have at the very top of their list, but so be it, I guess. Number 2, we're going to be talking about the 2009 album Black Clouds and Silver Linings. I'm sure y'all didn't see this coming now, did you? Yeah, this album is just probably one of the best progressive metal albums, nay, one of the best progressive rock albums I have ever heard in my life. This album is just absolutely perfect from start to finish. I mean, The Count of Tuscany is just majestic. One of their best epics. It's in the top 5 for me. Nightmare to Remember is one of their darkest songs. I just love that eerie atmosphere to it. Wither is another one of their most underrated songs, in my opinion. I just love the dark mode that this song is in. The Best of Times is just a beautiful song. And of course, it has one of John Petrucci's best guitar solos. I mean, it's evident. I mean, John Petrucci is one of the greatest guitar players of all time, in my opinion. His playing style and the way how he writes music and how he creates these amazing riffs and solos is just completely out of this world. I absolutely love John Petrucci. He is in my top 5 all-time favorite guitar players. Just, I cannot emphasize that enough. And The Best of Times is a fantastic example. The Shattered Fortress, concluding the AA suite in probably one of the best ways possible. There's a lot of callbacks to the other songs in this suite. And yeah, it's just a perfect grand finale for this series. I absolutely love this song. And then Rite of Passage, while I think this is the weakest track on the record, I don't think it's a bad track at all. Um, yeah, what more can I say? This album is absolutely perfect in my opinion. It was this close to being my number one favorite Dream Theater album. But my number one favorite Dream Theater album has the advantage of for a reason that I will talk about it when we get to it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So we have reached it. Number one, Process of Elimination. If you're a Dream Theater fan, you know what album is left. The 2002 album, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. Oh my God, what a masterpiece of a record. This album is flawless, beyond flawless. This album is just amazing. What more can I say? I mean, The Glass Prison, a classic from the band that kicks off the AA suite. It is chaotic, it is fast, it is just a wild song. Blind Faith is an absolutely fantastic song, even though I do think it is my least favorite song on the album, but it's still a really good song. Misunderstood is one of their most heart-wrenching songs. The Great Debate, it's kind of a tie between Great Debate and Blind Faith as being my least favorite song on the record, but both of these songs are absolutely fantastic. I love how fun The Great Debate is, even though it's a political song, and you know me, I do not like politics at all, but The Great Debate, in my opinion, is just a really fun song. And then Disappear is one of the band's most darkest songs. It's a very eerie type of song. And then, my favorite Dream Theater song of all time, the grand 42-minute title track, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. One of the best songs I have ever heard, not just by Dream Theater, but by anyone. This song moves me in a way that no other song has ever done, not just by Dream Theater, but by anyone. This song is a masterpiece. Their best epic and their best song, in my opinion, at least. All the segments are great. The overture is just absolutely majestic. About to Crash, probably my favorite part in the entire song. War Inside My Head, absolutely chaotic. The Test That Stumped Them All, a banger. Goodnight Kiss, beautiful. Solitary Shell, it moves me. The About to Crash reprise, fantastic. Then Losing Time / Grand Finale. Oh my God. Oh my God. This song is just perfect from start to finish. And it spoke to me. It moves me. It speaks to me. It is just a masterpiece of a song. 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence has to be number one for me. No bad song on this album. No weak moment on this record. This album is just one of my all-time favorite records. I'll just go ahead and tell you that right now. One of my all-time favorite records. Right here. You heard it. Absolutely love this album. Absolutely love this album. I cannot stress it enough. Absolutely love this album. And now, so with that said, 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence comes in here at number one. And before we go, I just want to give a quick honorable mention to the Change of Seasons EP from 1995. This is not an album, it is an EP. So I unfortunately had to leave it off the list, and plus it only had one original Dream Theater song on it, which was the title track Change of Seasons, which is another masterpiece, probably my second favorite Dream Theater song behind 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence. Just fantastic from start to finish. There are so many amazing songs on it. It's just flawless from start to finish. And even the Elton John cover of A Funeral for a Friend and Love Lies Bleeding, Wowzers, what a cover. Definitely check out those two songs on the EP if you're really, really curious. But yeah, Change of Seasons, another one of their best songs, and in my opinion, one of the best covers I've ever heard of the Funeral for a Friend slash Love Lies Bleeding Elton John cover. Fantastic from start to finish. So with that said, that concludes my Dream Theater album rankings. This was a long and a very hard list to do. So thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is Water Dive 122 signing out, ready to dive and more fun on YouTube. Thanks for watching.